Hey everyone, Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel, and the day has finally arrived where we're going to be taking a look at my 2025 winter bug out bag and loadout. Let's get into it. So as you can see, there is a lot of gear to get into here, so I'm not going to bore you guys with my philosophy on bugging out. What I will say is that this backpack and this whole loadout system, I really just designed and tailored to my own specific environment. It's really just meant for me to go out into the mountains for a few days, go hunting, trapping, hone in some of my bushcraft skills, and maybe test out some survival gear. So with that said, what I think I'll do is just kind of start by showing you the gear that I have on my person, and then we'll kind of move over to some of this other gear over here, and then we'll get into the backpack. So the first piece of gear I have here is this chest pack, and basically this is just a kit that I put together. It has some navigation supplies and some signaling type supplies, and then I just have some kind of like essential type gear in here. So this pack is by a company called Winex. It's really nice because you can just clip this onto your chest, and then that way when you need something like a compass or your Garmin or something like that, you can open it up just like this and access everything just like so. So I'll go ahead and kind of show you guys everything that's in here. Right here I got a pair of binoculars. I have this Streamlight Polytac right angle flashlight, and what I really like about this flashlight, it's got this little carabiner clip here, and I can snap this onto the D-ring of my backpack, or I can just snap it onto this chest rig, and that way it just kind of illuminates the area in front of me if I'm, you know, walking through the forest or something. And then it's got this clip here, and this actually can attach not only to the D-ring, but it can also attach to a headband that I have in my backpack, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And then that way I can actually utilize this light as a headlamp. So really cool, versatile flashlight here. I have a compass, and then I have a map of my area. Not a whole lot in here. I got some pens right here. Let's see, in this zipper here, I have a signaling mirror and then a whistle. And then on this pocket here, I have some marking tape. This, if I get lost and I need to signal to somebody, or I'm trying to kind of give signs to maybe other people in my team and kind of let them know where I'm going, I can use this. I can also use this for when I'm setting snares. I have a Garmin eTrex 22, so this is just a navigation device. I have this Leatherman multi-tool. So I can't really remember which model this is. I don't think it's the Wave, but just kind of a really nice Leatherman multi-tool. I got a couple of glow sticks in here. Then on the outside of this chest rig, and I don't actually normally carry this knife on the outside of this pack, I just put it there for the convenience of this video, but this is the EC Azula 2 neck knife. So this is pretty much my primary bush knife for this whole loadout system. Now, I don't really need a big chopper knife because I have a hatchet and a folding saw in my bug out bag, so all of my bulk major cutting needs are pretty much met with those two tools. So really all I need is just a nice reliable sharp knife for cutting. I can process game and just, do carvings and pretty much stuff like that. So great little knife for doing all of my fine tuning and cutting needs. All right, next up, we'll take a look at my outerwear. So the gloves I'm wearing are by a company called Hatch. I don't think they're around anymore, unfortunately, because these are a really good pair of gloves, but they're just fleece on the outside, leather on the palms, got some leather on the knuckles here to protect your knuckles. But what I like about these gloves is they're really long on the wrist, so that keeps rain and snow from getting on my wrist. It also allows me to kind of pull the gloves tight and get a really nice cinch, but they fit really well. The only downside of these gloves is the fingers aren't activated, so I can't use a touchscreen with these gloves. But other than that, really good pair of gloves. The jacket is a USGI Gore-Tex parka. You can buy these used on eBay, and that's pretty much the only place you can get these jackets because they're just not issued anymore, unfortunately. But a really good jacket, keeps me warm, and most importantly, it keeps me dry. The pants I'm wearing are pretty much the same. These are just USGI Gore-Tex pants. So basically they're like a bivvy for my clothes. And then underneath here, I'm just wearing regular clothes. I got some like Dickie type carpenter pants under here, and then a regular hooded sweatshirt under this jacket. So I am plenty warm out here, and it's probably 29 degrees out right now. So I'm definitely warm enough. The boots that I'm wearing are by Sorel, and these are the 1964 pack boots, I believe is what they're called. But really good pair of boots. They keep my feet really warm and dry. All right, the next piece of gear to my winter loadout are these snowshoes. So these are the Trekker 25s. Great pair of snowshoes for the money. So very budget friendly pair of snowshoes. I think I bought these for 65 bucks, and they've been working really well. I've owned them for about 3 years now, and nothing has broke on them, and they basically function the way they're intended. So great pair of snowshoes for the money. And then the rifle that I brought with me for today's excursion is this AR-15 platform. So this is a rifle build that I did myself about 10 years ago or so. I haven't really changed much on this rifle other than I did get an optic finally. I know I was getting lit up in the comment section about not having a proper optic on here. So I got this scope. I did put a sling on here, and I think the only thing I've updated on here, other than those two things, is like the stock. So Magpul stock, Magpul handle. The lower receiver is by a company called Juggernaut Tactical. I think they're still around, but originally when I bought this lower, it was from a company called DWP, which was Desert Warrior Products. They're definitely not around anymore, but the lower's, you know, a really good lower. The upper receiver is the Black Diamond Spectre XL, and that is by Yankee Hill Arms. So really good rifle. Let's see, the scope. This is a 10 by 28 FFP LPVO scope by a company called CV Life. And they sent this out to me about a month ago, and I just got it zeroed in like last week. So far, it's really working well. It's a very budget friendly scope. You can get this scope for under $200. It's got a illuminated reticle on here, so really fancy scope, but not a whole lot I can say about this. I'm not a scope expert, but I will say it shoots straight and it's really easy to dial in. So maybe I'll do a full scale review on this scope, but for now I will say really budget friendly scope for your AR-15. All right, so now for the nucleus of this entire loadout, my Bugout bag. So this backpack is the 75-liter military internal frame backpack by a company called Marting Top. Now, what I will say about this bag is that it is almost identical to Eberlestock's Fact Track. It's just bigger. Now, if you guys ever saw the video, I did a video where it was kind of a comparison between this bag and my old Eberlestock Fact Track, which was my old Bugout bag. I showed you all the similarities, but the reason I went with this bag as opposed to my Eberlestock is that it was bigger and it fit all of my stuff. Whereas with my Eberlestock, I was having to basically tie things onto the outside to fit all of my loadout together in that bag, and I just didn't like my sleeping bag, you know, on the outside and my sleeping mat and things like that. So I found this backpack. It was everything I was looking for, and I was able to put everything inside of here. So I'll just kind of show you around the outside of the pack here. Let's see, on the other sides, they got Molly on the sides here, which is really nice, so you can attach pouches. They got these big pouches right here for water bottles or really anything. I mean, this pouch on the side here is really wide. It's about 8 inches, I think, right there. So I have my hatchet in here. I got 2 extra 30 round mags for my AR-15. And then the other thing that I really like is that it has this long pocket on the side here. And what that allows me to do is put my big folding saw in here. So I'll show you guys all the gear here inside here in a minute, but I'm kind of just showing you guys how this backpack functions. So it's pretty much the same on the other side. Got a big water bottle pouch here, Molly, and then the big pocket. And then what I also put in here sometimes, I don't have them with me right now, are some tent poles for the tent that I have in this backpack. But the way I utilize these pockets on the bottom is on this side, I keep my radios in here. So I have a Baofeng UV5R plus my GMRS radio in here. So I got 2 radios, one for scanning and keeping tabs on like emergency situations, and then the other one is strictly for communicating. And then like you saw on the other side, I just have my hatchet and mags. Now on the back of the pack here, they have this really nice lumbar support. So we got some really nice cushy back straps here. Got this really nice thick cushy back support, lumbar support here. And then it has actually 2 different types of internal frames. So it has 2 titanium rods that make this back really strong, plus a really thick piece of plastic. So the whole back support system on this backpack is just extremely robust and heavy duty, really nice. The other thing here on this waist belt, same thing. It's really thick, really comfortable. And they have these pouches. So on this side, the right side here, we have, and this is really cool. Let's see if I can situate this here. But what this is, you got 2 zippers, one on top, one on bottom. And what it becomes is a big dump pouch. So if you're, on the trail and you see some, wild edibles, you can just put them in here. You see some fire tinder like bark, you can just throw it down here and just collect, wild edibles. Or you can just put your spent mags in this pouch. So this is a really cool feature. I haven't seen too many backpacks with this feature. So really nice that they have a dump pouch on the side of the belt. And then inside of this pouch, I didn't even know I put that in here. This is the headband clip for that flashlight. So I can basically wear this right around my head, put the flashlight in there, and that acts as my headlamp. So I'll keep that in there so I don't forget it. Just gonna have to watch the video to remember where I put it. On the other side of this belt, we have another pouch, and they have Molly on the outside of the pouch. This is the only little gripe that I have with this bag, and it's a minor one. I really wish they had put the Molly on this pouch, and then that way, or maybe made this pouch removable or something, and then that way I could put a holster on here for my sidearm. But other than that, I mean, that's really my only little tiny gripe. But inside of this pouch here, I actually have mags for my 10-22, because that's actually what I bring with me usually when I have this backpack and I'm going out in the mountains to, camp for a few days, especially in the winter, because all I can hunt right now is rabbit and grouse. So I'm normally just running my 10-22. So this pouch is perfect for basically 10-22 stuff. So I got this is a 15 round mag for my 10-22. And then I actually have an extra mag for my sidearm. So there's a 40 cal mag for my HK sidearm, which is actually in this backpack. And then I have a couple of boxes of 22 in this pouch. So definitely this pouch is big enough to hold all my ammo for my 10-22 for a long period of time. Let's see. Oh, on the bottom of this bag here, there's a zipper. And inside this pocket is a full rain cover. So if it starts raining or snowing, you don't want your bag to get wet, you pull out this rain cover, cover your backpack, and it will keep your bag dry. So really cool feature. And then on the bottom, as you can see, there's more MOLLE in case you want to, you know, strap a sleeping pad or sleeping bag or whatever. So a lot of cool features. And then they have this adjustable support here. So for if you're bigger, you have a longer torso, you can adjust this to fit your torso and stuff like that. The other thing that's cool too, if I really wanted to, this belt is actually removable. So I could put like a combat belt on this backpack. Yeah, I don't know if I would, but it is nice to know that that feature is available. Or if you just don't even want the belt, you can just get rid of the belt, or if something happens to it, you know, you can replace it. So really cool that this belt is removable. Let's see. Oh, it has this Reco. This is a locating technology. So if you get lost in the mountains, there is this location technology where they fly a helicopter with like a transponder, and it will basically tie into this little beacon right here and be able to locate you. So I actually just kind of learned about this technology when I bought this bag. Now I will say, for those of you who may be uncomfortable with having a locator beacon on your backpack, I get it, especially if it's like your backpack, your Bugout bag. Maybe you don't want to be located that easily. It's just stitched on here, so you could cut this off if you wanted to. So let's see. I feel like I'm gonna forget something. On the top here, we got two straps. So if you want to strap something on the top here, like your jacket or sleeping bag, you can do that. So obviously you got like a little carry handle there, but other than that, I think that pretty much does it for this backpack. We'll go ahead and get inside, and I'll show you the gear that I have in here. Okay, so on the side of the pouch, like I said, I'm just putting these two 30-round mags. Now, you don't have to keep them in this side pouch, but if you wanted to, you could. And then I have this hatchet here, and this is by Schrade. This is a great hatchet. I've owned it for about 7 years now. It's got the hammer on the back, so if I wanted to pound in stakes for my tent, I can do that. But really good little chopper for processing all of my firewood. And I will say, you know, if you're putting together a backpack and you plan on, you know, doing any, you know, extended period of time out in the mountains, I say go ahead and just put a hatchet, accept the extra weight. I mean, it is a little heavier, but you're going to be a lot happier having a hatchet to process wood, because that's the one thing you're going to be doing more than anything, especially if it's a winter bag. You're just going to be cutting wood a lot. So having a nice proper hatchet that can process your wood for you is just a must, in my opinion. All right, and on the other side of the pack, like I said, I got two radios. So this radio here is my Baofeng UV5R, and I actually just reprogrammed this radio with my Chirp software, and it's doing really well. I got this Abri extended antenna here, which is critical pretty much for all of your radios. Like I said, you know, if you have like a subpar, kind of a cheap radio like a Baofeng, put a high-end antenna on there and it will make this radio a great radio. You just get rid of those antennas that they come with and get yourself a nice antenna. But this radio, like I said, it is a locked radio, so I can't transmit on this radio. It's really just designed for listening, scanning, and just kind of keeping tabs on what's going on around me. Then the radio that I keep with me for communicating and transmitting is this Baofeng GMRS radios. And pretty much everybody in my family has one of these radios. We all know how to operate them, but these are great radios. They're programmed right out of the box. You don't have to do anything. You just figure out what channel you and your team want to communicate on and just tune all those radios to that channel and then lock it. And then that way, you know, if younger or more inexperienced people are using this radio, they're not going to get themselves into trouble, you know, pushing buttons and things. But these are real good radios. You know, you can get long distance. You do need a license for the GMR frequencies, but there's no test. You just fill out a form, pay a little fee, and you have a call sign and a really good long distance radio. You're looking at about 3 to 5 miles with an antenna like this. And if you have a repeater in your area, you can get even longer distance than that. But nice radio. They have the NOAA frequency on here, so if you want to get weather updates, you can do that. Got FM radio and then a light. So pretty much everything you need in a radio to transmit on. All right, so that's everything for the outside of the pack. We'll go ahead and I'll show you everything that I have on the inside. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with this front pouch here. So obviously you see the med patch here. Now, like I said, on all of my backpacks, I always dedicate this pouch to my medical supplies for two reasons. One, they usually put a Velcro here so I can put my med patch on the pouch, and it's in the front so it's really easily accessible. So that's the reason why. One, it's easily identifiable, and two, it's easily accessible. So go ahead and open this up. I'll show you everything I have in here. So right here, I got this small basic first aid kit. It's waterproof. I pretty much got all my Band-Aids, Neosporin. I got some aspirin in here. So just a lot of boo-boo kit related stuff. Plus I have a bunch of moleskin in here in case I get blisters on my feet from hiking. Next thing we have are some trauma shears. I have some compressed gauze. We have a compression bandage or an Israeli bandage. I have a cat tourniquet. Got 2 more rolls of gauze here. I got a bunch of Purell wipes and then some nitrile gloves in this bag right here. And then over here we have a small little rat tourniquet. I got some more stretch tape right here. And then I have a glow stick. All right, moving on to this lower pouch here. And this is basically like an admin pouch. And this is another thing that Eberly stock did away with that Marding Top kept, which I really like. But they kept all these pockets here and all these little different areas to basically just keep this a nice admin pouch, carry like a lot of little accessories. So the first thing I have in here is this kit here. So this pouch is made by a company called Coeur. I actually own a lot of these pouches, but they're really nice just to compartmentalize all of your gear inside of all of your bags. But this one is just dedicated to electronics. So I have an extra battery for my Baofeng UV5R, and this can be charged with a USB-C port right there. These are a bunch of charging cables and then some earpieces for my radios. And then here I have an external battery. And what's nice about this is that it has the solar panels. So that way, you know, I kind of enter into the realm of sustainability. So I can just basically, as long as I have sunlight, I can keep all of my electronic devices charged pretty much indefinitely. So really cool piece of gear to have in your bug out bag. And then here I have an earpiece and microphone for my radio. And then here I just have some basic batteries for some flashlights and my optic, things like that. So I got some AA's in here and then some CR123s right there. So it's really cool to have a kit that's designated to all of your electrical supplies. Just keeps it all organized and you know, easy to access. Here I just have an extra pair of readers for my old man eyes, some pens, pencil, Sharpie. Right here I have some camo paint and a little mirror in case, you know, I need to go incognito and acquire a little bit of concealment. Here I have a Right in the Rain pad. And then right here is just a repair kit. So I have a thread and needle, and I even have some glue and some nylon patch in case I get like a hole in my air mattress or something like that. And I think that pretty much does it for everything that I keep in my admin pouch. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll flip our backpack around here. And in this pocket, so this is our top lid pocket here. And inside here, I keep my 40-ounce clean canteen so I can boil water in here or just keep my water in here. I have a bandana for signaling and doing all kinds of other stuff that you need a bandana for. I keep a balaclava in here, and I really just keep this in here to keep my head warm at night when I'm sleeping, because it gets really cold, and having, you know, some way to keep your head warm is just key. So definitely, if you're winterizing your bug out bags, keep a balaclava in there. You will definitely thank me later. And then here I have another full tang bushcraft knife. So this is just a Mora bush knife. These are great knives for processing game and all kinds of other cutting needs, but really lightweight. I just figured, you know, I'd throw this in there since it's so light. And in case something happens to my other primary bush knife, I have this as a backup. All right, the next thing we have here is some cordage. So this is micro cord. I can make shelters with this. I can set my perimeter alarms with this, do all kinds of things, but is a really good lightweight, heavy duty cordage. All right, I have a extra pair of gloves. So let's see, these are made by a company called Sarnak. I bought these at Costco, but these are a really good pair of warm winter gloves. Got leather palms, but these will keep my hands really warm. They're totally lined with fleece, so really comfortable, but if it gets really cold, I'll just throw these on. All right, next thing I have in here is this headlamp. This is by Streamlight. I bought this like 10 years ago. It's a really good light. As you can see, I can actually just pull it off this headband here, and then I can clip it to like a D-ring on my shoulder strap of my backpack. I can clip this onto a helmet, something like that, but just a really good versatile headlamp. And it has the IR option on here as well, along with a red light and then just a regular light. All right, and the next thing we have here is my sidearm. So normally when I come out into the backwoods, this is the sidearm I'm bringing with me. So this is an HK USP compact. It's chambered in 40 cal. So, you know, it's more than enough to basically deal with any threats that I might face out here, like bear or moose or mountain lion, something like that. But this is a really good, high quality, reliable sidearm, and I always bring it with me when I'm out in the mountains. All right, so back to the front of the pack here. Now, one of the things that I really love about this backpack design is that it has this zipper here, which allows you to open up the whole backpack and expose everything that's inside. You know, that way, you know, if I have to get to something that's way down below, I don't have to go digging through, you know, the top. Although it does give me the option to access stuff from the top, you know, I'm not beholden to it. So having the ability to open up my backpack like this and keep all of my gear nice and intact and just access whatever I need is just extremely invaluable. So one of the main reasons why I decided on this pack. Another cool feature about this backpack is it's got this little strap here, and that way you can load up your bag, and then when you're all done, you can clip this like here and then cinch this, and it will bring it in, and then that way it just makes it really easy to zip your pack up. So really cool little feature. Before we get into the contents in here, I'll show you on this panel right here. As you can see, there's a lot more MOLLE, and then there's one more pouch right here. And inside this pouch, I keep a basic hygiene kit. So this pouch right here is made by a company called Lockbee. It's a really nice waxed canvas pouch. And I just keep some basic hygiene supplies. So I got some mosquito repellent, which I don't really need right now. Not many mosquitoes out. I keep some antihistamine pills in here. There's chapstick, and then I have tweezers. And then I have a lot of these compressed towels, which just use your imagination, which why you probably want a lot of these. And then I also keep some Alka-Seltzers in here. And then the last thing we have in this pocket, and this is really cool. I just discovered these not that long ago, but each one of these little pieces of paper, that's what it looks like, is actually a piece of soap. So once they get wet, they get activated, and basically you could wash your hands, you can wash, you know, your whole body with, you know, 3 or 4 of them. But You know, one pretty much represents one hand washing basically, but really cool. And I just like carrying these as opposed to just carrying like a big bag of wet wipes. So really cool find there. And then on this side over here, I have my toothpaste, got a toothbrush, I have a Swiss Army knife, and some dental floss. And that'll do it for my hygiene kit. All right, so the next thing we have in here is my water filtration system. And again, I keep it in this Coreflex canvas bag. And I have 3 different ways of purifying water. The one way, I have this life straw. So if I'm hiking and I come across a water source like a pond or a creek, I can take a quick drink with this device here. And then my primary water filtration system is this Sawyer Mini, and then I have this 3-gallon water sack. So if I'm going to be at camp for an extended period of time and I don't want to have to keep making trips back to my water source, I can fill up this whole bag full of water, hang it from a tree, and then just filter it as I need it, you know, as opposed to just having my 40-ounce clean canteen, you know, and going through that really quick and then having to make trips back to the water source. This just makes, you know, keeping your water at your camp really convenient. And then the last thing we have in this kit are just some water purification tablets. All right, the next kit that I keep in my bug out bag is this hunting and security kit. And inside here, the first thing we have are these small game snares. So got 2 cans, there's 5 snares per can. And really what having snares in your kit does is just kind of allows you to be sustainable. So if you have any intention of being out in the wilderness for an extended period of time, you're gonna need a sustainable way or a viable way of procuring food. And the best way to do that is with snares, in my opinion. So really good thing to have. Always keep some snares in your inch pack. All right, next thing we have here, and this is part of the security of this kit, and these are perimeter alarms. So I did a video on these not too long ago, but essentially what you do is you attach these to a tree and you put a 209 primer in here, and then you would run a tripwire from this pin right here. And that way, if something comes into your camp at night, it will hit the tripwire, sending this firing pin down to the 209 primer in here, which just basically sounds off a really loud bang sound and alerts you to the threat. So having some perimeter alarms in your bug out bag, very good idea. And then with that, I keep some 209 primers, and then also going with that, I keep some more of this microcord, and I can use this not only to build shelters, but to also run my tripwires for my perimeter alarms. And then the last 2 things I have in here are some calls. So I got some turkey calls right here and a quail call right here. And I just know that turkey and quail are indigenous to my environment. So having a means to call them in and hunt them is just a kind of a real critical thing to have in your hunting kit. All right, next kit we have here is my fire and cooking kit. And the first thing we have in this kit is some sawtooth tinder by DEFCON 1 Survival. So I featured this in a lot of my videos, but this is just a really good way to get your fire started, especially in the wintertime when all of the wood is wet. So I always keep a can of this in all of my fire kits. And then I have some eating utensils. I got a long titanium spork here. I always keep some seasoning in my cook kits. So I have some salt and then just some basic meat seasoning right here. I have a ferrocerium rod. This is also by DEFCON 1 Survival. And of course, in my fire kit, I keep a lighter. I have some matches. So that's basically 3 ways to start a fire. And then I have another eating utensil. This is just a fork, and there's actually a little can opener on the side of that fork there. And then the last thing I have in here is this folding stove. And this is just a great little piece of kit. I featured this in a lot of my videos, but if I just want to create a small little fire to heat up some water or cook a meal, I can do that. And it would just kind of, basically what it does is it allows me to create a very small and very hot yet containable fire. So I don't have to build a huge fire, you know, to cook one little meal. I can just get a little fire going in this stove right here. So really cool piece of gear to have for your fire and cook kit. All right, and before we move on, real quick, I just realized I never showed you guys my camp saw. So this is the Boreal 21 folding saw by Agua, and this is the saw that I use to process all of my firewood. So again, if you're going to be out in the wilderness for an extended period of time, just have yourself a really good camp saw and hatchet. It's just going to make your life processing firewood a lot easier when you're out in the mountains. So this is an absolute must-have in your bug out bag, in my opinion. All right, next here we have this sleeping mat. It's by REI. It's a self-inflating sleeping pad, and you know, basically it keeps me off the ground, keeps me warm, and keeps me comfortable when I'm sleeping at night. And then here I have my mess kit. Nothing fancy, just like a basic titanium mess kit, but it's got a pot and a lid, and the lid actually kind of doubles as like a drinking mug. And then inside here, as you can see, I just have it packed full of snacks and tea and coffee and drink mix, all kinds of stuff. So I'm not gonna release all that stuff. We'll just keep that contained, but that is my mess kit for my bug out bag. And then the next thing we have here in this dry bag is all of my food. So I got enough food in here to probably sustain me or supplement the food that I might gather out in the wilderness for an extended period of time. So it's just kind of a lot of random stuff, but got some cookies from an MRE, got some tuna, got a bunch of this bone broth here. So this is really good if I get like a rabbit or a grouse or really anything. I can boil it in this bone broth and just add like a whole element of nutrient and just make the meat itself taste a lot better. So keeping some of these bone broth packets with you, it's just a key thing to have in your bug out bag. Plus it's going to keep you healthy and just keep your immunity up. Again, I just have a ton of stuff in here, so a lot of snacks. I got some beef and cheese snacks. There's a bunch of coffees in here. I have some basic trail mix. And then as far as my meals go, I have a couple of these Peak refuel meals. So this is the chicken coconut curry. I haven't tried this yet. I'm actually really excited to test that out and see what it tastes like. And then here we got some sweet pork and rice. So that looks really good. Again, they're both freeze dried, so they're really lightweight. And that's pretty much it for my main meals. Again, like I said, it's mostly just a lot of snacks, and then I got the bone broth and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for my basic food kit. Here is my shelter system. So this is by One Tigress. This is their Bushcraft bungalow shelter, something like that. It's kind of a long name, but I've done a bunch of videos featuring this tent, but it's a really good lightweight one-man tent, and it's got a little awning that pops out and basically kind of allows you to set this up and configure it kind of like a lean-to. So I can set it up, build a fire in front of this tent, and it will keep me warm at night. And then, you know, I can close it in and just have it as a fully enclosed shelter as well. So this is a really good shelter system, and it's lightweight. And for my sleeping bag and my bug out bag, this is also by One Tigress, and this is their Bushcrafter sleeping bag, I believe. But it is a 30-degree bag, so not the warmest sleeping bag, but you know, if I'm like wearing long underwear and I got a fire going, you know, I should be fine in this sleeping bag. You know, if it starts getting into the crazy sub-zero temps, then, you know, I'm going to be probably shivering a little bit. But for the temperatures in my area, you know, this is more than enough to keep me warm at night. And then the last piece of gear in my bug out bag, I just keep an extra pair of socks and some underwear and some long underwear, which I vacuum sealed in this bag. That way it just keeps it nice and compact and also keeps it dry. So definitely an important thing to keep in your bug out bag, especially during the winter time. All right, you guys, so before I close out today's video, I just want to mention there's one piece of gear in here that I didn't show you guys when I was going through this bag, and that is this poncho here. So I do always carry a poncho in all of my bug out bags, and because this is the winter version of my bug out bag, I am keeping this snow camo pattern poncho, and I keep this in here for a couple reasons. One, I can make a shelter out of it like you see here. Two, I can you know, it'll keep me dry if it starts raining. But three, I can basically achieve a level of concealment because of the snow pattern to this winter environment that I'm in. So that way, you know, if I need to go incognito, I need to achieve some concealment, I can throw this poncho on over my whole body, over my backpack, everything, and, you know, I can be camouflaged. So that's one of the main reasons why I keep this poncho with me. Now, the other thing that I will say, as far as the philosophy goes with this whole loadout system, obviously this is a lot of gear. I did not design this with the intention of hiking 10, 20 miles a day. Reality is, you know, a guy like me in my condition, I could probably do like 5 miles a day max. I mean, that's pushing it. It's really between 3 to 5 miles with all this gear, especially in the snow. It's hard to hike through snow. And if you guys plan on putting any type of winter bug out system together and it's going to be really heavy like this, the other option that you guys could entertain is getting a sled and putting your gear in it that way and just carrying it behind you with some snowshoes on. That's going to make it a lot easier to get through the snow, especially if the snow is deep and powdery. You're just going to, you know, the heavier you are, the more you're just going to be sinking through that snow. It's going to be really difficult. So if, you know, you can get all of that gear into a sled behind you, keep your body as light as possible, have your snowshoes, and just pull the sled that way. It's just going to make it a lot easier to travel through the snow. But if you're hiking through the snow, you know, I get it. This is a lot of gear to pack with you. But my intention is not to do a lot of hiking with this bag. My philosophy around this bag is really just to put it in my trailer, put it in my sled, like I said, get to my predetermined bug out location and stay there. Now, if I had to flee that location for some reason, I could do so, you know, like I said, 3 to 5 miles a day max, but it's really, this is just designed to get me from point A to point B and then just kind of stay and sustain myself in one area. Now, the other thing about bug out bags, when you're putting them together, they're going to depend on a few factors. One, your own personal needs. 2, your environment. And 3, the situation. And that's the one area where I think a lot of preppers kind of make mistakes, is they assume a lot. They always assume worst case scenario, and that's, you know, there's only one type of bug out situation, and they design their bag around that. Fact is, we don't know what the situation is going to entail that's going to, you know, justify us bugging out. So my thinking is I pack my bug out bags with as much gear to handle any type of scenario I can think of, and then once that scenario starts to unfold and reveal itself, I can jettison the gear that's in this pack, you know, to that scenario that's unfolding. So that's kind of my thinking. But again, you know, everybody has, you know, to each their own. You guys all have your own personal needs, your own environment, and your own theories on what's going to happen. But this is what, in my opinion, best suits me. So let me know in the comment section if you guys have any questions for me. And if you're interested in any of the gear that you saw in today's video, I will make sure to link all of it in the description. Also, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and hit that notification bell. So with that said, until the next time, stay prepared.